All right, let's give this one a shot. $1970. Ooh.
Carl Faubert sought information for a living. That is to say that ever since he returned from Korea, after having served with the armed forces, he had been working as a private investigator in Montreal. William Hamilton, a rich industrialist, had gotten in touch with him regarding a simple vandalism issue. Nothing to write home about. Not worth hiring a private eye either, just so he can drive for hours on rough roads. But that's how it had always been. The client pays, Carl gets it done. They had set up to meet at the general store, his client's business. Well, actually, the entire village had William Hamilton's name written all over it. When the roads were bad, muddy, or snowed in, it was customary around these parts to close them off. But it was also customary to ignore those signs entirely and drive there anyway.
Where? Manistan, it will be good. Oh, there we go. I want to take advantage. Oh, it's been Quebec, huh? Ooh, these controls. Oh, hey. So I'm just gonna ignore the warnings and force my way through the gate, huh?
Hamilton never mentioned a road blocking barrier. Why was it needed here in the back of Beyond? That would, however, be a mystery for another day. Carl had waited long enough for someone to come and raise it.
Break the lock. Oh, well, I guess I already got something to do it.
Still not a soul in sight. There was no point in waiting any longer. Carl had to figure this one out by himself. Hamilton is waiting for Carl in the general store. It was time for him to get down to business. William Hamilton enjoyed a lavish country house built in the very heart of the northern forests, not too far from here. The local populace was divided when it came to the affluent man. Some saw a wealthy philanthropist dedicated to improving the region's economy. Others an aging Englishman who would do anything to further his fortunes. And those ones hated him enough to go on about scheming against him.
Oh, I was gonna go over there. I can't get off the road. Oh, okay. So you're pretty much just supposed to stay here.
Now wasn't a good time to wander about. Hamilton was still out there.
Totems.
Hamilton had recently acquired a few local businesses, but the last straw was the reopening of a mine, which gave rise to a wave of protests and threats from the Cree people. Given these circumstances, Carl reckoned that a good number of people must be feeling compelled to oppose Hamilton in one way or another. So far, only the industrialist's house had been a target, but soon enough, Carl thought, the target would become the man himself.
That escalated. Was I supposed to do something in the dark?
Carl needed to get out of there. The cold and the pain required urgent care. The driver had taken off. It was still best to check it out and leave nothing to chance. Carl needed help.
The hell? Can I crouch? How do I crouch? Oh.
It was a small, locked box engraved with the letters W.H. Carl thought about taking it. Nothing was to be left to chance. Such heart-wrenching Nordic poetry that was. But Carl didn't care much about flowery language. This deep in the country, his last hope was to find an abandoned garage or a farm by the roadside. His life depended on it. It was so cold. Already Carl did not feel his toes anymore.
Oh, I guess I need a wood source, huh?
A fire is as good as the materials used to create it.
What are the controls? Okay, that's why.
Carl, ever diligent in his work, always carried his log on him, in which he scribbled down thoughts and leads alike during the course of his investigations. The Polaroid, Carl's long-standing and faithful ally, had seen its share of husbands caught red-handed cheating. There's always something out there waiting to be snapped away.
Okay, so... Freeze down. Turn about. Oh, anytime you get near the fire, it saves. That's interesting. I'm not quite sure what I'm supposed to do here. There was a journal. Case of vandalism, the crash. Not real sure where I'm supposed to go. This feels like sudden death. Oh, it's an invisible wall. Okay, not that way. That way's blocked. Am I supposed to sleep here? Okay. I'm very confused. Oh, I need to heal my wounds. Oh, okay. And warm up his body before going any further. So I guess something's in my inventory to heal myself up. Options, documents. Here we go. Inventory. What? A key. Maybe there's a key in the car? Okay. Okay, so I got the first aid kit. Let's go back to the cabin. Get near the fire. Oh, okay. There like a weight limit? Stuck. Okay, nope, just look around. My brain is 79%, okay. Huh. Man, it went from fall to like winter very quickly.
Spread out on a few acres of untouched forest, bellowing caribou, everlasting snow, and undefiled lakes, the Manistan region was no tourist hub. It was said to have been populated for millennia by Cree people, and ever since the industrial era, by the metal mining industry.
Wait, where am I supposed to go?
The truck was running on fumes. Good thing that the general store was close by. The pumps wouldn't surrender their divine nectar so easily. In all likelihood, they had to be switched on from inside the store. A milkman had to drive by every week to fill the bottles. The fresh milk indicated a recent visit. A milkman had to drive by every week to fill the bottles. The fresh milk indicated a recent visit.
Gross.
Carl felt that the store and its surroundings still held their secrets, and he didn't like to miss out. Carl was used to strange phenomena, but a chunk of ice like this, as if an iceberg came out of the ground, that was a first.
Photographer.
Maintaining his composure, Carl recalled something from his military training. Wolves always stay away from populated areas. Wait, was it about bears? Carl was no electrician, but he could identify a wiring problem when he saw one.
What happens if you run out of film? Your precious Polaroids.
Something fell to the bottom of the box. Carl had no trouble recognizing his employer. He had been killed. There was no need to be a detective to figure that out. But only a detective could have noticed that the killer had to have been very close, that the fatal blow had been given before the victim even realized. What could be inside that envelope? Carl was taken aback. He knew this address. It was said to be the address of the P.O. box for the Canadian Secret Service. An explosion suddenly occurred outside. The snowstorm pummeled everything in its path. Carl was not surprised when he heard no tone. Carl knew that Gilles Lachance was in charge of the general store. That made him one of Hamilton's employees. A very angry employee, as Carl could plainly see.
Sale 10. Maybe it's sale. I don't get it. Punch price number, 2 numbers minimum. Press sale, turn crank 2 times. Punch the machine if it doesn't work. Quebec's Klondike. Huh.
According to that log, it seemed like the whole village owed some money to the general store. Carl was far more interested in the bunch of nearby addresses he had just gotten his hands on, though.
Doesn't need 2 numbers. Okay, punch the side, punch the price, 2 numbers minimum, press sale, turn crank 2 times. Punch price, then sale. Okay. I gotta get the electricity going again. Well, you know what? Let's get the heat going first.
Carl was no electrician, but he could identify a wiring problem when he saw one. Carl was no electrician, but he could identify a wiring problem when he saw one.
Maybe something's in the garage I gotta get. There they are. All right.